We've got some more exciting movies on the way this month. Here's my look at the biggest movies headed to theatres and streaming in March 2024. Kicking off the month on the 1st, it's the year's first mega blockbuster, Dune Part 2. This next chapter of Warner Bros.' epic adaptation of Frank Herbert's literary classic continues the mythic journey of Paul Atreides. As facing a choice between the love of his life and the fate of the known universe, he endeavours to prevent a terrible future only he can foresee. The movie returns Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya, Rebecca Ferguson, Josh Brolin, Javier Bardem, Stellan Skarsgård, and Dave Bautista to their roles, adding Florence Pugh, Austin Butler, Léa Seydoux, and Christopher Walken to the ensemble. On March 3rd, Adam Sandler once again trades comedy for tragedy in his latest project for Netflix, Spaceman. In this sci-fi drama, Sandler stars as an astronaut who realizes his wife, played by Carey Mulligan, might not be waiting for him when he returns to Earth. Desperate to fix things, he is helped by a mysterious ancient creature he finds hiding in the bowels of his ship. The movie also stars Paul Dano, Kumail Nayar, and Isabella Rossellini. On the 7th, Zac Efron and John Cena star in Peter Farrelly's Ricky Stenicki, which drops on Prime Video. The movie sees three best friends who all their life have blamed their misbehaviour on the imaginary Ricky Stenicki, but when their partners become suspicious, they hire a washed-up actor to bring him to life. On the 8th, it's the long-awaited Kung Fu Panda 4 from DreamWorks. Jack Black returns to the role of Poe, who finds himself promoted to spiritual leader of the Valley of Peace, and must quickly find and train a new dragon warrior, all the while warding off the evil schemes of the shape-shifting chameleon. Dustin Hoffman, James Hong, and Bryan Cranston also return, while Ke Huy Quan, Awkwafina, and Viola Davis join along for the ride. Also on the 8th, Millie Bobby Brown stars in Damsel from Netflix. The movie is set to flip the script on the traditional fairy tale, as Brown plays Princess Alady, who has to save herself when her Prince Charming sacrifices her to a dragon, brutally interrupting her happily ever after. It also stars Angela Bassett and Ray Winstone. Also on the 8th, it's another original horror flick from Blumhouse, Imaginary. The movie is said to tap into the innocence of imaginary friends, as a woman returns to her childhood home to find her stepdaughter has developed an eerie attachment to Chauncey, a stuffed bear she finds in the basement. While time with Chauncey begins playful, it becomes increasingly sinister. The movie stars DeWanda Wise. Also on the 8th, A24 will release muscular indie thriller Love Lies Bleeding, directed by St. Maud's Rose Glass. It stars Kristen Stewart and Katie O'Brien as partners whose love ignites violence and pulls them deep into the web of a criminal family. It's said to have a vaulting imagination, packing a gut punch unlike any other. It also stars Dave Franco, Jenna Maloney, and Ed Harris. On the 15th, Arthur the King races into theatres. Based on a true story, Mark Wahlberg plays pro-adventure racer Michael Light, who forms a strong bond with a scrappy stray dog named Arthur. Together they join each other in an epic endurance race in the Dominican Republic. It also stars Nathalie Emmanuel and Simu Liu. Also on the 15th, just in time for St. Patrick's Day, Netflix drops Irish Wish, starring Lindsay Lohan. When the love of her life gets engaged to her best friend, Maddie puts her feelings aside to be a bridesmaid at their wedding in Ireland. Days before the pair are set to marry, Maddie makes a spontaneous wish for true love, and finds herself in an alternate reality where a chance encounter shows her that sometimes you need to be careful who you wish for. You need to be careful who you wish for. Also on the 15th, Knox Goes Away, starring Michael Keaton and Al Pacino, hits theatres. After a job goes horribly wrong, John Knox resigns himself to the knowledge that his contract-killing days are over and starts gathering his assets to cash out. One night though, his estranged son shows up at his door. Covered in blood and barely able to speak, he begs his father for help covering up a violent crime. Knox sees only one way out, developing a tricky scheme with multiple steps that require precise execution. Keaton also directs, while James Marsden co-stars. On the 21st, Prime Video launches Roadhouse, starring Jake Gyllenhaal as Edward Dalton, an ex-UFC fighter who finds himself working at a rowdy bar in the Florida Keys, where things are not as they seem. It is of course a remake of the 1989 Patrick Swayze cult classic of the same name, and also stars Conor McGregor, Daniela Melchior, Post Malone, Billy Magnussen, and Jessica Williams. On the 22nd, it's the next installment in the iconic Ghostbusters franchise, Frozen Empire. For the very first time, the new and OG Ghostbusters join forces to save the world from a second ice age, after an ancient artifact unleashes an evil force. Paul Rudd, Finn Wolfhard, McKenna Grace, Logan Kim, Celeste O'Connor, and Carrie Coon return as the new-gen Ghostbusters from 2021's Afterlife, while Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Ernie Hudson, and Annie Potts return from the 1980s series. Also on the 22nd, the latest indie horror from Neon hits theatres, Immaculate, starring Sydney Sweeney. Cecilia, an American nun of devout faith, embarks on a new journey in a remote convent in the picturesque Italian countryside. Her warm welcome quickly devolves into a nightmare as it becomes clear her new home harbours a sinister secret and unspeakable horrors. Also on the 22nd, Russell Crowe stars in crime mystery thriller Sleeping Dogs. While undergoing cutting-edge Alzheimer's treatment, former homicide detective Roy Freeman is forced to reopen an investigation into the brutal murder of a college professor. When a magnetic and mysterious woman sheds new light on the mystery, he uncovers chilling secrets from his forgotten past that lead him to face a horrific reality that changes his world forever in the blink of an eye. It co-stars Karen Gillan. Also on the 22nd is the latest in found footage Oz horror, Late Night with the Devil. In 1977, Johnny Carson rival Jack Delroy is the host of Night Owls, a once hugely popular talk show. A year on from the tragic death of Jack's wife, ratings have plummeted and sponsors are getting nervous. Desperate to turn his fortunes around, Jack pulls out all the stops for his annual Halloween special, booking a psychic, a professional skeptic, a parapsychologist, and a young girl allegedly possessed by the devil. The film stars David Dastmalchian as Delroy. Also on the 22nd, Regina King stars as political pioneer Shirley Chisholm in Shirley, which hits Netflix. The biopic tells the story of the first black congresswoman, political icon Shirley Chisholm, and her trailblazing run for president. It chronicles her audacious, boundary-breaking 1972 presidential campaign. It also stars Lance Reddick and Terrence Howard. Also on the 22nd, Netflix will release the Casa Grandes movie from Nickelodeon. After a surprise family trip to Mexico derails Ronnie Ann's birthday plans, she's determined to prove that she's old enough to do her own thing, even if it means confronting an ancient pre-teen demigod whose angst has apocalyptic potential. Directed by Miguel Puga, a long-running director-producer on the Casa Grandes series, it features the series cast. On March 29th, it's the next installment in Legendary's Monsterverse, Godzilla Cross Kong: The New Empire. Following their explosive showdown, Godzilla and Kong are pitted against a colossal, undiscovered, hidden threat, which challenges their very existence, and our own. Heading the human cast are Rebecca Hall, Brian Tyree Henry, and Dan Stevens. Of course, Godzilla and Kong star as themselves. And rounding out the month, also on the 29th, is The Listener. From director Steve Buscemi, the movie tells the story of Beth, a home helpline worker who is part of the small army that gets on the phone every night across America, fielding calls from all kinds of people feeling lonely, broken, hopeless. Eventually, Beth's own story comes to light, revealing why she does it. Tessa Thompson plays Beth in the film's only on-screen role. Rebecca Hall, Margaret Cho, Alia Shawkat, and Logan Marshall Green feature in vocal performances. And that is all of the major movies headed our way in March 2024. As always, join the conversation down below and let me know what you're most and least excited to check out this month.